Alright, so here we are on lesson 24, percent and rates per 100. So we should be on page 2 of your note packet. This is the first video for topic D. So we're starting to talk about percents now. So it kind of says it here that about percents and rates per 100. So one note I want you to write at the top is that a percent, maybe draw a little arrow, is always out of 100. Alright, and then one other thing I want you to put down is I want you to tell me 3 places where we see percents. Alright, so I want you to kind of think about it, maybe pause the video for a second, and I want you to tell me 3 places where you see percents in your everyday life. Alright, so pause the video and then do that, and we'll talk about those tomorrow in class. Alright. Exercise 1 says, Rob's fruit farm consists of 100 acres, on which 3 different types of apples grow. On 25 acres, the farm grows Empire apples. McIntosh apples grow on 30% of the farm, and then the remainder of the farm grows Fuji apples. It says to shade in the grid below to represent the portion of each farm, or portion of the farm each apple occupies. Use a different color and then create a key. So I know you probably don't have colors. So for Empire, we are going to shade. For McIntosh, we are going to X out. And then Fuji, we're just going to leave blank. Alright, so it said on 25 acres, the farm grows Empire. So we're going to shade in 25 boxes for Empire apples then. So if we count across, there's 10 going across. That means we need a whole row here. And then this would be 20 for a second row. And then 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's 25. Okay, and then it says on 30% of the farm are McIntosh apples. So I'm going to X out 30 boxes, because each box represents 1. So I've got 5 left here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, so if I count, we keep going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm at 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm at 25. So then I just need 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that gives me 30. And then for Fuji, if they didn't tell us what the number is, but it says the rest of the farm, so that would be this much. So if we added up 25 plus 30, we would get 55. And then 100 minus 55 is 45, so that would be the rest of it, which is blank. It'd be 45 boxes. So now here it says to fill in the part to whole ratio. So for Empire, the part to whole, right, was 25 boxes, and the whole was the 100 box grid. For McIntosh, it was 30 boxes compared to the 100 part whole. And then the remainder here, after we did our little calculations, we know that it was 45 blank boxes compared to the 100 whole grid. Alright. Exercise 2 says the shaded portion of the grid below represents a portion of granola bar remaining. What percent does each square of the granola bar represent? So each box here, it says 0.01, so we can write it, it's either as 0.01, which is 1 over 100, right, because this is 1/100th. And then the other way we can write it is that's 1%, because it's 1 out of 100. And then the next part says, what percent of the granola bar remains? So if we count out the shaded boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 across up here. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 down going here. So what part remains? They said the shaded part represents what remains. So that would be 80%. And then what other ways can we represent this percent? So we can write it as a fraction, which would be 80 over 100. Percents are always out of 100. So if we simplify and divide them both by 10, We can also write it as 8/10, or if we simplify one more time and divide by 2, we can also write it as 4/5. And then we can also write percent as decimal, and that would just be 0.80. Okay, so flip on over to the next page. We are going to skip exercise 3. So you're going to flip one more page over to page 4 here. And it says to complete the table. So across the top it's percentage, decimal, fraction, and ratio, and then the model. So we have 6%. So as a decimal, that would be 0.06. I don't know why it's writing it so funky. Oh boy. Let's try that again. So this would be 0.06. You guys get it. I don't know why it's writing it like that. As a fraction, always out of 100, so that would be 6/100. And then the ratio they gave us was 6/100, and then a model, we would shade 6 out of 100 boxes. Alright, so now we have 60%. So this one would look a little different as a decimal. It would be 0.60 now because it's 60. I hope you guys can see that. I don't know why it's writing it like that. Alright, and then it says as a fraction. So as a fraction, that would be 60/100 now. Now the ratio would be 60/100. My goodness, I don't know why it's writing it like that. And then for a model, we would shade 60 boxes this time. Shade 60 out of 100. Alright. Now we have 600%. We're going to scratch that off for now. I don't want to use that yet. Guess it won't let me scratch anything off either. So get rid of that. And we're going to instead talk about 30%. If it'll let me write. 30%. Alright, so as a decimal, that would be 0.30. As a fraction, that would be 30 out of 100. As a ratio, that would be 30/100. That'll let me write. And then here we would shade 30 out of 100. Alright. Down here, the next one, they gave us 32%. So as a decimal, that would be 0.32. As a fraction, that would be 32 out of 100. As a ratio, that would be 32/100. Guess it wants to write on an angle. And then here we would shade 32 boxes out of 100. Alright, then our last one here, they didn't give us the percent, but they gave us the decimal, so we know 0.55 as a percent would be 55%. And then as a fraction, that would be 55/100. As a ratio, that would be 55/100. And then we would shade 55 out of 100. Okay, so again, if you have any questions about those, I know it wouldn't let me write on the screen. We can always go over them again in class. Then one more here on the next page. They just gave us 9/10. So we always said fractions were out of 100, so that means we have to somehow get this out of 100. So to get from 10 to 100, we'd multiply by 10. That times 100. And so that would give us 90/100. It really doesn't want to let me write today. And then, so this would be 90%, and then this would be 0.90. I don't know why this won't let me write. And then as a ratio, that would be 90 to 100. And then we would shade 90 out of 100. Alright, so again, if you didn't get some of these because it wouldn't let me write, we can just go over them again in class. And we're going to skip exercise 5 for now, so that is all for lesson 24.